How's it going? Professor Pete here. We're going to talk about lighting and rendering, specifically camera fly-throughs. This is really fun to do and it looks super cool. But of course, I think it's worth talking about some of the examples that are all available online and stuff that you see when you walk through the malls. So here is Zaha Hadid, amazing work. You can see the artistry in these fly-throughs. Most of the time though, you're not going to be going from shot to shot with a dissolve. If you are, you're going to have to use something like Premiere. But you can see in terms of the camera moves, you've got a combination of things from just some simple, slow pans, going from left to right, up to down, some rotation around a specific point. For the most part, it's quite slow and very subtle in terms of how the fly-through is happening. However, if we look at this example in terms of the camera fly-through, there is all sorts of interaction with kids, people. But when the camera does move, you can see how fast it is. So, this camera fly-through, although it is probably about the same length, 6 or 7, now we're at maybe 10 seconds, it's covering a lot of ground. Whereas something like this, very subtle, moves forward slowly, and it takes 6 to 7 seconds. That's probably what we're looking for in terms of a fly-through. Now, of course, each shot is going to be 5 to 7 seconds, 8 seconds. You may want to continue a shot where just going right through the building, but for the most part, we will be using cuts rather than, like I said before, dissolves in order to get from one shot to the next. Now, if we look at 3ds Max, the thing that we're going to do here is start with a camera. Now, again, I've been showing you target-based cameras where we have a target and the camera can rotate around it. But for the versatility of the camera fly-through, it's better to go with a free camera. So here I have a free camera, and I've already selected it. And I'm going to go through and show how I came up with these shots. So this particular shot is really fast, this very first one, because it's 30 frames long. So there it is. It goes from top to bottom, and then it goes into the building. So again, you can see that it's very, very fast. And if we go into the timeline for this camera right here, we can see that we probably want to move some of these. And so I can click and drag it. So right now it's actually at 25. And we can select these ones and move them as well. So you can see too that we want to hold the camera. So again, I'm going to have it go from 0 to 60 frames. So it's going to be roughly 2.5 seconds long. And then I will let it pause for a moment. So there it is. It pauses and then it goes through. So you can see that, again, the speed is pretty fast and we're running out of frames. So I'm just going to add a 5 instead of the 1. So we have more frames to play with here. And that's over here at the time configuration. So again, I'm going to select the camera and then move. Again, my frames are a little even smaller now, but I can then select the 100 and put this to maybe 200. And you'll see that the time from 70, that 1 second is now, that same move takes 5 seconds. So when I hit play, okay, now we have that camera fly through, goes in. Okay, and there's automatic easing in and out on this camera, so that's great. So you can see how it slows down as the camera is moving to its point. So I'm going to scrub back, and you'll see there's the camera again. I have multiple cameras, so it's a little confusing, but make sure you use the cameras that you need. But in this demonstration, you'll see there's a difference between these two cameras. You have one camera icon that looks more square, and then you have a traditional camera, and that is the free camera. So from here, let's say we want to add another shot again, maybe 201. So we want to maybe move that camera. So I'm going to go in there and maybe find and maybe incorporate the tree somehow. So I'm just going to grab it and move it here. And I will, right now I have set to auto key, but just for extra assurance, I'm going to hit S on the keyboard. And then maybe I want to start from the tree and do a slight rotation, but for now I'm just going to move this a little bit here and then rotate it. Again, hit S on the keyboard just to make sure. And then maybe at frame 300 we want it to just rotate a little bit like this to our next tree. Okay, so I'm just going to play it. Make sure I'm on the view there. Go back, hit play. Camera moves in. See that rotation is pretty fast. So again, you may want to adjust this so it's roughly 3 seconds. So I'm just going to select it, drag it over to 400 frames. So yeah, the 10-second fly-through, you can see that you really don't have a lot of room in terms of the shots. You can probably get away with two moves with your camera. So here's this one that goes from 70 to 200, and they have this camera rotation like surveillance for the next 100 or so frames, 100, 200 frames. So yeah, camera fly through, one camera, maybe two. Notice how the cut is happening in the software here. So there's the 200 and 201, that creates the cut, and we can move the camera as we wish. So that's it for camera fly-throughs. You can see that it does take a long time. You're going to end up with a lot of frames. I've got more or less only 3 camera moves in 500 frames. A lot of rendering. But that's all I got. Professor Pete, keep learning. We'll see you in the next one.